How's it going, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So today we've got another GoPro POV driving video, and I actually have my dad's car out today. Again, this is one of the very first cars I actually did a review on, like a video on, and this car is really special. You could probably tell by the title or the thumbnail or whatever, but this car does have a Chevy 350 small block in it. It also does have 411 gears in the back with a Ford 9-inch. And it also does have a 200 R4 trans, so it is a automatic, but it's pretty much like a slapstick, which is really cool. Anyways, this car is a blast to drive. It definitely means a lot to me as well as my dad. He pretty much just built it up from scratch. If you want the full story or like the full review of this car, I'll leave the link to the full review that I did film on this car. I actually am thinking about like doing another one on it, just because for some reason last time, like again, I was just starting off. I had a really crappy mic, and it just made the sound quality like really bad on that video. So if you're new to my channel and you haven't seen that video yet, and you're going from this video, to just keep that in mind. So I definitely, want to do more videos on this car. I really love it, and as you can tell, like the paint, it's not like the best, but it's a project car. Like, we love it, and for the most part it gets kept outside, so it's not like some like really pristine show car or whatever, but it definitely is a lot of fun. You can also see the traction bars, like the custom traction bars down on the side there. He does have some meat on the back, but for the most part they're just all season tires, so it's not anything crazy, and it can definitely break loose very easy. So I'm not going to go nuts when driving it today, but yeah, that's pretty much it. Now I do want to remind you guys that I am doing my very first giveaway on the channel. I'm going to be giving away $100 worth of my merchandise to one subscriber and one subscriber only. I'm going to be doing that once we hit 1,500 subscribers on the channel. Now, that being said, guys, it's my first giveaway. It's absolutely free to enter. All you have to do is subscribe. Definitely helps me out a lot as a smaller YouTuber. And also, guys, I know I mentioned it before, but again, just to show you for proof, I guess, that this thing does have a Chevy 350 in it. It's nothing special, obviously. Under the hood, it's all dirty, just like the outside. It does have long tube headers, Vortec heads. It's canned, got a better carburetor, I believe, and for the most part it is just a pretty awesome like naturally aspirated build, but nothing like super crazy. So anyways, that's enough talking for me. I'm gonna strap the GoPro onto my head and then take you guys for a ride in this 1981 Pontiac Firebird. All right, guys, so again, like I said before, this is a automatic trans, but it does have a slapstick, so it's pretty much a 4-speed. So if I go down to 3, 2, 1, now I'm in first. And yeah, I mean, the first like 2 gears, I just kind of went half throttle, and then that 3rd gear right there, I kind of floored it a little bit, but obviously, again, don't want to go crazy. It's still like, I want to say right around like 35 degrees at like high 30s. So the pavement is still cold, so this thing will lose traction almost instantaneously. And I do really like this trans. Again, it is automatic. Right now I have it in drive or overdrive, basically the 4th gear. And for the most part, it shifts pretty smoothly, but it does it shifts pretty smoothly for a project car. When comparing it to like a normal car, like that Chevy Malibu that just passed, something like that, this thing definitely shifts like really hard, and it definitely kicks you in the ass. But compared to like other project cars that I've driven on the channel, it really is like not that bad at all. It's actually a really like fun driving experience. Now, when I'm taking these corners, you can see there's a little slop in the steering wheel. That's an issue that me and my dad have wanted to take a look at, maybe redo. But again, for the most part, it's really not that bad. Also, there's no power steering or AC, which is kind of like a typical project car stereotype. But yeah, there's definitely no power steering or AC in this thing. But I mean, again, for the most part, it's absolutely fun. Now, I do have the windows open for you guys just so you can hear some of the engine noise, and right now we don't have tips on it, so the exhaust is pretty much just cutting off right underneath the car. So you do get a decent amount of drone while driving, but still it's really not that bad at all. And what's funny too is like when it's cold out like this and you have the windows down, it's honestly not that bad because you do get the heat off the headers coming from underneath you, because again, there's like no insulation here at all. It's completely different than driving like a more modern car, which, I mean, me personally, I really love. Some people like the modern conveniences, but I feel like there's nothing that can beat this. And that is a cop right there, so we're not gonna go crazy today. I definitely have to keep my eyes out because again, this is my dad's car, so definitely do not want anything happening today. Now I do know, actually on my channel I did record when my dad and I fixed the speedometer issue with this thing, so now it actually has a functional speedometer, but the gas gauge still doesn't work. So for the most part, when we fill this thing up, it's pretty much just like every like 2 or 3 times we take it out. Again, this thing burns through fuel like crazy. It's not like a big block and it's not blown or anything, so it's not completely ridiculous, but at the end of the day, you're definitely not going to get a lot of fuel economy out of this thing. And one thing I always like about taking out this car is that like it just, and I feel like it's the same with like most classic cars, whether it's American Muscle or something else, like it just turns so many heads. And I also feel like a lot of people just like enjoy, you know, seeing something like this pass by. Obviously this thing does look a little bit wacky because it's an 81 Firebird. It originally was a base model Firebird, so it originally had that really bad like V6 in it, but you have that body with this big ass like 3-4 inch cowl hood on it, and it definitely does look pretty radical. But I don't know if you guys can actually see it, but the reason why my dad had to put that cowl hood on there or make the cowl hood is because the 350, like the air intake actually sticks out from the stock hood. So again, for the most part, it's not too radical by any means, but to just like a normal person like walking by, this thing, you know, might seem like pretty cool. And obviously you do have your Karens that just get pissed off at like over it because, you know, it has a loud exhaust or whatever. But for the most part, I feel like this thing is definitely like less annoying than like a 1999 straight piped stock Honda Civic. I mean, at least this thing's not a weed whacker. Yeah, so that's pretty much it. I mean, I stepped on it back there and then I just gave it a little bit right there. You can tell that there's definitely some delay, but for the most part, I don't know where that county cop went, so I'm still trying to like look for him. He wasn't in the park, but he's got to be around here somewhere, so I'm definitely taking it easy for today. Like you can see right there, just went over some bumps or whatever. It's has a stiff suspension, so I mean that part of driving it is not really that fun. But for the most part, as far as engine noise is concerned or whatever, you do hear the cams a little bit, but they're not like super lopey cams. And at the end of the day, it idles really healthy, it runs really healthy, and you could just cruise on this. Like it does have 411 gears, so cruising at like highway speeds like 70-80 miles per hour, the RPMs do sit a little bit high, but when you're just going like 40 or like 45-50, it's extremely comfortable. And so literally just with, you know, pressing down the gas a little bit, you can make the tires chirp, which I find pretty damn awesome. Now, one thing you definitely do have to be conscious of when driving something like this is you always want to like keep an eye on your gauges. And I don't know if you guys could see, but we have a couple of the temp gauges down there. That is one thing that my dad also wants to do. He wants to kind of like redo this whole dashboard. So hopefully when he does that, I'm able to help him out and actually film it for you guys and like put it on the channel, because I feel like that's really interesting. And me personally, I don't know much about electronics. I'm pretty bad with that stuff, so it would definitely be a cool learning experience for me at least. And also we do know that the starter is going on this car, so hopefully when we replace that as well, I'll be able to film that as well. But yeah, I definitely plan to do a lot more videos with this car because again, it means a lot to me and my dad. And personally, like, I mean, I love my car, but I feel as though this thing is definitely a lot more interesting than a V6 Mustang. And yeah, I mean, it's definitely, it's on the aggressive side and it can get very damn rowdy. But for the most part, again, it's completely manageable if you know what you're doing. That's the key word, if you know what you're doing. Like, so many people just kind of like send these things into poles, and I mean, with the all-season tires on it, you definitely don't want to drive it in crappy weather. But if the roads are wet, I definitely do trust this thing to not just like completely slide out on me. And for the most part, even though you do have some slop in the steering wheel, which I'm trying to demonstrate right now, it still feels fine. Like, I mean, I don't know, maybe it's just me because I'm kind of used to driving it numerous times now. But I feel like with any vehicle, if you just, you know, put the time in, like learn about the vehicle, get used to it, I feel like you really shouldn't have a problem with it. Now, mind you, speaking about crappy weather, like I definitely wouldn't drive this thing in the rain or anything because it has no windshield wipers, which is a problem that my father and I have ran into numerous occasions coming back from like car shows or whatever, which definitely does suck on this car because again, the glass is like 40 years old as well. But anyways, guys, that's pretty much just gonna wrap up today's video. Again, if you aren't subscribed, definitely be sure to subscribe down below. Helps me out a lot, and you can get entered to win like $100 worth of my merchandise. But like always, guys, thank you for all the support, and I'll see you guys in the next one.